Why should you main the twins? Well, honestly, I'm not sure. I could not even tell you why I made them. However, if you did have the passing thought to experience such pain and agony, then follow me. I will show you the ultimate guide to the twins. To make this as simple as possible, I'll talk about the twins' power and what it's good for. See, when you play the twins, you have Charlotte. Think of her as the main body and a regular Mouse 1 killer. Her power is to summon her brother Victor from her chest cavity, and he runs around like a little gremlin making odd noises. His main power is a pounce. His pounce latches onto survivors if healthy, and if injured, it puts them into the dying state. When they are latched onto, they are blind. Victor's sight is very low to the ground, so your vision is very limited. However, he does have built-in Bloodhound, making it easier to track injured survivors. He can also use his pounce to jump over pallets, effectively making normal loops useless against him. When playing as Victor, you should think of him like the Demogorgon, using Shred. Instead of breaking the pallets, you are breaking the survivor's sanity instead. Missing a pounce is extremely punishing, so think of it like this. The longer you hold it, the longer the threat of it builds onto the survivor until they will inevitably make a mistake, and you can get an easy pounce off. The anticipation of using your power is stronger than just hoping you can hit a nasty flick on someone. So now that we have covered how to use and think about Victor, let's talk about the three main strategies that are most effective on the twins. The twins have three main playstyles. Number one is the more boring of the three, which is just running down one survivor, cutting them off the loop with Victor, downing them, and then patrolling the hook with Victor while you wait nearby in a bush as Charlotte. This will always ensure at minimum one kill a game, but it's honestly not fun for anyone and you should not play like this. But if you, for whatever reason, want to, you do not need Insidious, as when controlling Victor, Charlotte has no terror radius, so extra perk slot, I guess. The second playstyle, while a bit more fun, is still not super efficient in terms of overall performance and is still pretty annoying on the side of the survivors. As well, it's not exactly thrilling, and that is the slug meta. Take perks like Knockout and go around the map as Victor and Charlotte and never hook a single person and just slug the entire game. Throw on some anti-healing perks like Chlorophobia and enjoy learning a new language on Duolingo on your second monitor as you wait for everyone to bleed out. The third playstyle is one of the most fun ways to play the twins for both you and the survivor, and it's also the most efficient. That is to split yourself and Victor across the map to two separate 3-gens, applying pressure and utilizing the fact that there are two killers in the game. This playstyle works extremely well with things like Fearmonger, since the survivors working on the generators won't know for sure exactly when you are switching between Victor and Charlotte, letting you get the jump on them. This playstyle also pairs well with Mangled and Thanophobia, as you won't always be able to down someone when you hit them with Victor, but making them injured and slowing down their healing will make them waste time on top of your gen slowdown perks, giving you more than enough time to apply pressure as the game goes on. An easy way to wrap your mind around this playstyle and concept is to think about it like you're playing the Wraith. You know, a really hit and run, bob and weave, smack the survivor, make them waste time kind of playstyle. And then once you have that pressure, then you can go for downs after it's been applied across the whole map. It's surprisingly effective and works a lot better than slugging or face camping, especially when Unbreakable is still a very strong and common perk. Not to mention the 3 Johan mains you run into will just boon exponential, and you'll get 0 kills because of it. It does not happen often, but when it does, oh boy does it make slugging feel even worse than it already is. Speaking of underused perks, let's talk about what perks are best on the twins. On the screen is my personal tier list for perks on twins. This does not include all perks in the game, but the ones I find the most effective in order of usefulness. Starting in S tier, we have Ruin, for obvious reasons. Knocking people off gens as Victor or Charlotte gives great value to Ruin, as it gives it time to apply early game pressure and regression. Next we have Jolt, which may seem weird to some people, but because we are using both Charlotte and Victor, having the extra regression when playing Charlotte is extremely useful and can really lock down gens, especially when you have to loop like a normal M1 killer, because Victor is on the opposite generators. Lethal Pursuer is just honestly good on every killer because early game is where every one of them struggle to get immediate pressure, so having a goal in mind at the start of the game is just insanely valuable. But the most surprising perk on here is Mangled. It's in S tier for the same reason Jolt is. That being, when you play Victor, you will not always be downing people. So to slow down the game, you apply Mangled when making them injured, slowing them down considerably, as survivors have this extreme need and desire to want to heal when Charlotte is not around them. Next in the A tier, we have Barbecue and Chili. Again, knowing where people are and seeing if they are close to Victor just adds to the speed of your pressure application and helps set your goals. Barbecue and Lethal are just a good combo in any killer. Then we have Fearmonger, as stated above, keeping survivors on their toes when you are not and when you are playing Charlotte, and helping deal with exhaustion perks when playing the Mouse 1 game is extremely useful. Finally, in A tier, we have Nowhere to Hide. Honestly, this is super situational, but it does pair well with Lethal's extra aura and does give you information. Also, for some reason, if the duration lasts long enough, or you have quick swap add-ons, it does carry over to Victor, even though if he could be completely across the map. I assume this is a bug, but feel free to use it anyways, because the twins could really use any win they can get. The rest of the perks on the list either increase the twins' generator slowdown, healing slowdown, or help Charlotte in the chase without Victor. Feel free to play around with these, as they're all optional and all can be used viably if you play correctly. Think like Nurses pairs really well with Mangled and Thanophobia, Fire Up, Bamboozle, and Hubris helps Charlotte in chase faster, Dead Man and Eruption helps slow down Generator, and etc. The list goes on. I'd recommend using the perks in S and A tier, but feel free to try out your own builds, and feel free to be a meta slave if you want. These are just builds I've had the most success on. Now to round out this guide, I will finish with some obscure tips that are hardly useful until they are needed. Charlotte is very short and is hard to see over medium walls, unlike killers like Nemesis. Moonwalking works surprisingly well. Victor gives killer instinct to survivors in his range. So why is this important? Well, when Victor is inactive, you can hide him away, and if survivors hear him, they will try their best to find him to stomp on him, thus adding even more time into the game when they're not doing generators or healing. Plus, it's just good info to have. Victor can lock people in lockers, however, you should never do this. Survivors can 99 the struggle bar and hold him hostage for 30 seconds, or until you come over to get them yourself, effectively removing any time you could be saving. If survivors jump into a locker, hide Victor out of sight, or stand still in front of the locker to make them think you've switched back to Charlotte, then pounce on them as they will inevitably get bored and hop out. Also, some perks that should only affect Charlotte do affect Victor as well. However, these are most likely bugs. Before the latest patch, Victor could proc Make Your Choice, but now he can't. So experiment with perks as you would like, depending on the perks count as killer perks or not, but sometimes it transfers over into Victor, and it's really weird because it sometimes act like he is a killer, but then sometimes he's a killer power. Honestly, if he did proc things like Jolt, twins would be absolutely insane. And now I'll talk about add-ons really briefly. I usually have this stuff written down, but I completely forgot about the add-ons. And that's honestly because you're not really going to use any. You can use the cooldown reduction add-ons, and you can use the add-ons that make people mangled, that give people broken status effects to slow down even more. Those are honestly some of the best ones. Things like lunge duration charge decrease are pretty okay. Their add-ons are honestly lackluster, and so it's just really optional which ones you want to take. So, feel free to do whatever. But thank you for watching. That's my guide on the twins. My name is Neva. If you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to support, share the video with a friend. It's free and it helps me grow. And until next time, stay safe in the fog.